We are drawn to imperfection like moths to a flame, because it seems human, because it feels real. But let's not kid ourselves. What we call authenticity is often just clever signaling. In the world of analog film and vinyl records, flaws were side effects. Now they're design choices. A grainy texture here, a stutter in timing there. These aren't accidents anymore. They are aesthetic decisions made to convince us that something real once happened. We've moved from respecting imperfection as natural to manufacture. Consider early digital music software. It didn't lack the capacity for perfect timings. What it lacked was our trust in machines to be human enough. So engineers added randomness, humanization settings to make digital beats feel like they came from a sweating musician, not a calculating algorithm. This wasn't about function. It was about perception. We don't just want music that's technically flawless. We want it to feel like someone tried their best and maybe even failed in the process. Perfection is
authenticity in art is not merely about origin, but about the resonance between an artist's intent and the cultural moment.
Once, authenticity was a question of origin. Was that Van Gogh oil on canvas or just a forgery? Today, it's more complicated. What if the brushstroke itself is a simulation generated by algorithms trained to mimic human imperfections? Consider AI handwriting tools designed for official documents. They don't just replicate fonts. They add quirks like uneven spacing and intentional misspellings. This isn't about faking history anymore. It's about manufacturing trust in real time. In the digital age, what was once a mark of individuality now serves as brand identity. Instagram filters deliberately add film grain to content, not because it looks better, but because it feels real. TikTok videos simulate camera shake, chatbots mimic speech hesitations. These aren't flaws. They're features, engineered cues that satisfy our subconscious need for imperfection, even when we know the truth is just a click away. Neil Postman warned that in a technocratic society, language and meaning become tools for optimization rather than reflection. He saw how systems like standardized testing or data-driven polls replace human nuance with measurable output. Now we see the same thing happening to authenticity itself. AI is not just creating content. It's engineering emotional responses by replicating trust signals. And in doing so, it reshapes what we consider real and honest. Here, experts explain how even in the dawn of digital systems, trust was already a technical concern. They built machines to calculate truth, not interpret it. Fast forward 50 years and AI is doing more than processing information. It's crafting convincing imitations of human behavior. Eye contact, pauses, tone. These are not authentic features by themselves, but they act as social cues that make us believe something is real. Even the Pope's recent encyclical on AI reflects this deeper anxiety. Not about machines making mistakes, but about them replacing human truth with simulated faith. When we grant authenticity to an algorithm instead of a person, what vanishes is not just our sense of real connection, but perhaps our capacity for it. If we can't tell the difference between sincerity and simulation, how do we hold on to meaning at all?
Approval. Of course, not everybody liked radiophonic music. A lot of people just thought it was a load of noise, which of course it was. It was just very nicely organised noise. But even in the early days, I mean, they did an arrangement of the Eric Coates March to introduce the 2 o'clock news on BBC television, which got just complaint after complaint after complaint because people just didn't understand what it was about.
Bathers once said that a photograph contains a punctum, a small, pricking detail that makes it memorable, something that has been and can never be again. But now AI doesn't just replicate images, it constructs entire biographies from nothing. A fabricated person with a deepfake past is not a lie in the old sense, it's a new kind of truth. We used to trust what was made by hand because we thought only humans could make mistakes. Now machines can simulate that human touch too well, and our senses become unreliable. The final irony is that we may come to value authenticity, not for its truth, but because it's rare. Like saying a movie was so real when you know the actors are faking their emotions. We crave the illusion of originality in a world where everything can be copied. Authenticity becomes a relic, something sold back to us as a premium experience. And who controls what is and isn't real? The same people who design the algorithms that decide which lives get told.